Welcome back to Real English for Travel, everyone. I'm Emily, and I'm so excited to dive into today's topic, which, let's be honest, can be a bit nerve-wracking for even the most seasoned travelers. We're talking about airport English, specifically those crucial conversations at immigration control.
That's right, Emily. And I'm Paul. You know, it's funny, even for native speakers, that moment when you are standing in line waiting to speak to an immigration officer, your heart rate can definitely pick up a bit. It's that combination of officialdom and the unknown, isn't it?
Absolutely. And for English learners, it adds another layer of stress. You're not just worried about your documents, but also about understanding every word and responding clearly. But honestly, it doesn't have to be a scary experience. With a little preparation, you can walk through immigration with confidence.
Exactly. That's our goal today. We're going to break down some of the most common questions you'll encounter, give you solid answers, and even help you avoid some common pitfalls. We want you to feel empowered and ready for your next trip.
So let's jump right into some of those questions that can sometimes feel a bit more detailed, the ones that make you think, wait, why are they asking me that? These are normal folks. They just want to confirm your information. Paul, what's a classic one that often comes up?
All right. A very common one is, what do you do for a living? Essentially, they're asking, what is your job? And people sometimes stumble here, either giving too much information or not enough. The key is to be clear and concise.
Right. You don't need to give them your entire resume. A simple, direct answer is best. For example, if I were asked, I might say, I'm a podcast host and content creator. Or if you're a teacher, I am a teacher.
Exactly. Other good examples could be, I work in information technology, or I am a business owner. If you're a student, just say, I am a student. It's straightforward. They're just trying to get a basic understanding of your background, not conduct a full interview.
That makes sense. It's about ensuring you're a legitimate traveler, not someone looking to work illegally or overstay. Okay, what's another one that can sometimes catch people off guard?
This one is about finances. How much money do you have for your trip? Now, don't panic. They're not expecting you to open your wallet and show them everything. The officer just wants to know if you can support yourself during your stay. They want to ensure you won't become a burden on the state.
Okay, that's really good to clarify. So what's the best way to answer that without getting too personal?
Simple answers are best. You could say, I have enough money for my expenses. Or if you want to be more specific, I have a credit card and cash. You can also mention, I have my bank card with me. The point is to show you're prepared and self-sufficient.
Perfect. No need to give them exact figures unless they specifically ask, which is rare. Just confirm you're good. And then there's that customs-related question that sometimes gets mixed in with immigration. We're creating it now.
Yes. Are you carrying any food, plants, or restricted items? This is super important. And the golden rule here is always answer honestly. If you have an apple, just say you have an apple. Don't try to hide anything.
Right. Because trying to conceal something small can lead to much bigger problems. If you have nothing, a simple, no, I am not, is fine. But if you do have something, like a prepackaged snack, just say, yes, I have some food items. They might then ask to see them or instruct you to dispose of them.
Exactly. Honesty is absolutely key here. It helps build trust and makes the process smoother for everyone. Now, how about we put some of this into practice with a scenario? Let's imagine a family traveling together.
Oh, I love a good role play. Okay, I can be the traveler, maybe the parent, and you can be the immigration officer, Paul.
All right, here we go. Clears throat, adopts a formal tone.
Good morning. Passports, please.
Good morning. Here are our passports. Hands them over.
Are you traveling together?
Yes, we are a family.
What is your relationship?
They are my wife and my children.
Why are you visiting this country?
We are here for a family vacation.
How long will you stay?
We will stay for 2 weeks.
Where will you stay?
We have a hotel reservation near the beach.
Do you have travel insurance?
Yes, we do.
What places are you going to visit?
We are going to visit museums, parks, and tourist attractions.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you. Phew, that wasn't so bad. You were a very polite officer, Paul.
Haha, I try to be. But you see how straightforward those questions are? And your answers, Emily, were perfect. Clear, concise, and to the point. No rambling, no unnecessary details.
Yikes. It's a good reminder to keep it simple. Let's try another scenario, this time a student traveler. This can be a bit different because they often have more specific documentation. Paul, you want to be the student this time?
Sure, I can do that. You be the officer again, Emily. Let's see if you're as polite this time.
I'll do my best. Adopts formal tone.
Hello. Passports, please.
Hello, here you are. Hands over passport.
What is the purpose of your visit?
I am here to study English.
Where will you study?
I will study at an English language school.
How long is your course?
My course is 6 months.
Do you have your school documents?
Yes, I have my acceptance letter.
Where will you live?
I will live in a student residence.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. Exhales. See, that was different. More specific questions about the why and how long and where for studying.
It really highlights the importance of having your documents ready, doesn't it? That acceptance letter is your proof, your golden ticket, and knowing exactly where you'll be studying and living, even if it's just a student residence, is crucial.
Absolutely. It shows you've planned, you're legitimate, and you're not trying to pull a fast one. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes that travelers make. These often happen because people are nervous and their minds go a bit blank.
Oh, I've definitely seen this and felt it myself when traveling to a new country. What's mistake number 1, Paul?
Mistake number 1. When asked what is the purpose of your visit, the wrong answer is, I don't know. I mean, how could you not know why you're visiting? It raises a huge red flag immediately.
Oh no, that's a classic panic answer, isn't it? But yes, it makes you sound suspicious. The better answer, of course, is something like, I am here for tourism, or I am visiting family, or I am here for a business conference. Be clear about your intention.
Precisely. Mistake number 2, when asked, how long will you stay? The wrong answer is many days. Again, it's vague, it's unspecific, and it doesn't sound prepared. They want a definite time frame.
Yeah, many days could mean anything from 3 to 300. Much better to say something concrete like, I will stay for 10 days, or I will be here for 2 weeks, or my return flight is on June 15th. Specificity really helps.
And mistake number 3, tied to that, when asked, where will you stay? A bad answer is, somewhere. Oh boy, that's another big red flag. Somewhere tells them nothing. It sounds like you haven't planned at all, which is concerning to an officer.
That's a definite no-no. You need to have a concrete place. I will stay at the Hilton Hotel, or I have a reservation at an Airbnb in the city center, or I'll be staying with my sister at her apartment in Brooklyn. Give them the information they need.
Fantastic examples, Emily. These mistakes are easily avoided with a little forethought and knowing those key phrases. Now, let's talk about something that makes a huge difference in any interaction, especially with officials: politeness.
Oh, absolutely. A little politeness goes a long way. It sets a positive tone and shows respect. What are some of those useful expressions we should always keep in mind?
Simple ones like good morning or good afternoon are great openers. When they ask for your passport, instead of just shoving it at them, say, here you are, or here is my passport, sir, madam.
Yes, here you are is so much more gracious. And of course, the ever-important thank you. A sincere thank you at the end or after they hand something back to you is always appreciated. And if you need to ask for clarification, please is vital.
Definitely. Another nice touch, if you've had a slightly more involved interaction, or they've been particularly helpful, is to say, I appreciate your help. And as you leave, have a nice day, is a perfectly polite closing.
These small phrases make such a big difference in how you're perceived. It shows you're a respectful traveler, not just someone going through the motions. Let's put it all together with a full practice dialogue. Paul, you want to be the traveler and I'll be the officer?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Passport, please.
Here you are.
Why are you coming to this country?
I am visiting for tourism.
How long are you staying?
I am staying for 12 days.
Where are you staying?
I have a reservation at a hotel downtown.
What is your occupation?
I am an IT specialist.
Is this your first visit?
Yes, it is my first visit.
Do you have a return ticket?
Yes, my flight back is on the 15th.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much. That went well. See all those questions we talked about right there in one go.
It really did. And your answers were so crisp and confident. That's the feeling we want all our listeners to have. Now let's do a little listening practice. I'll ask you some questions, Paul, and you can give me the ideal answers, almost as if you're the traveler.
All right, I'm ready. Let's see if I've been paying attention.
First question, why are you visiting this country?
I am here for tourism.
Excellent. Short and to the point. Next, how long will you stay?
I will stay for 1 week.
Perfect. Giving that specific duration. And where will you stay?
I will stay at a hotel.
Great, again, specific enough. And finally, do you have a return ticket?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic, Paul. You aced it. See, listeners, with a little mental rehearsal, these answers become second nature. Now let's quickly go over some important travel words that are super useful for understanding airport communication.
Good idea. First up, arrival. This is simply the moment you enter a country. So your arrival date is when you land and go through immigration.
And the opposite of that is departure. That's the moment you leave a country. So your departure date is when your flight takes off to go home or to your next destination.
Then we have the immigration officer. This is the person who checks your passport, visa, and asks those questions about your visit.
Right, the person you're having this whole conversation with. And after immigration, you usually go through customs. This is the area where officials check your luggage, specifically for restricted items like food, plants, or large amounts of cash.
Speaking of luggage, that's simply all your bags. But we differentiate between carry-on bag, which is the bag you take with you onto the airplane, and checked baggage, which is the luggage placed in the airplane's storage area below.
Those are essential terms to know, aren't they? They'll pop up on signs, announcements, and in conversations. Okay, before we wrap up, let's share some quick confidence tips for speaking with immigration. These are really actionable.
First, speak slowly. Don't rush. It's okay to take a moment to formulate your answer. Speaking clearly and at a moderate pace helps both you and the officer understand each other.
That's so important. And related to that, answer only what is asked. Don't offer extra details unless prompted. If they ask, "Why are you visiting?" just say, "Tourism." Don't launch into your entire itinerary unless they ask, "What places will you visit?"
Yes, do not give unnecessary information. It can sometimes create confusion or even raise more questions than it answers. Keep it simple and direct. Also, keep your documents organized.
Oh my gosh, this is a game changer. Have your passport, boarding pass, any visa documents, and hotel reservations all in one folder or easily accessible pouch. Fumbling around just adds to your stress and can slow things down.
Absolutely. And finally, stay calm and respectful. Remember, the officer is just doing their job. A calm demeanor and a polite attitude make the whole process smoother for everyone involved.
These tips really boil down to preparation and presence of mind. Good preparation truly makes airport conversations much easier. It turns a potentially scary situation into just another step in your journey.
Indeed, so remember these phrases, practice these scenarios, and you'll be navigating immigration control like a pro in no time. The goal is a smooth, stress-free start to your amazing travels.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Real English for Travel. We hope you feel much more confident about your next airport experience. Until next time, happy travels and keep practicing your English.
See you next time!